Well, thank you, Debbie. And yeah, thank you, Southwest Airlines. It never, ever gets old, does it? Although a couple of you, Don Rubin, and others may have come up to me when they first got in and asked, where might this little logo be located today, Tim? Fred, I don't know, I can't see where you're seated, Fred, but Fred Pratt and the Southwest Airlines team, we are so grateful for the fun that we get to do with this. More importantly, we're so grateful for your support for this community and its businesses. Thank you, Fred and the team. Fred, I'm not sure, with all this talk of Southwest Airlines and international expansion, I'm thinking maybe a direct flight to Nairobi out of St. Louis, Fred? I knew you guys would like that. I better be careful here. We've got media, our friends from the media in the room here, and there's nothing committed, okay? I'm not putting Fred on the spot. Southwest has committed to nothing. But we sure would have quite a few customers in the room. All right, so look, when we gathered here last year, we celebrated an ambitious milestone. Literally the week of Growing Global, it was announced that St. Louis was the fastest growing city for foreign-born talent. Now, there's a lot of talk around the region about our need to grow and the direct correlation between population growth and economic growth. This is exactly why we launched the St. Louis Mosaic project more than 10 years ago, to meet the needs of the businesses and grow our region. Under the tremendous leadership of Mosaic's executive director, Suzanne Sierra, we continue to do just that. If you were also with us last year, you might recall that we announced a little challenge, the International Student Internship Challenge. We asked all of you to consider hiring an international student in a STEM field for a 2025 summer internship. And you didn't let us down. Immediately after Growing Global, local companies like Boeing, NEDEC, HOK, among others, agreed to be a part of this inaugural challenge. 15 students from 5 area universities completed internships this past summer. Make no mistake, these internships are more than a job. They are a deepening of St. Louis's commitment to global connectivity and long-term growth. And I'm pleased to share that 10 of these interns are here with us today, and I invite them all now to stand up and be recognized. That's awesome. Congratulations and thanks for being here. Thank you to the companies and the universities who participated and made this first year a tremendous success. The challenge continues, and we encourage even more companies to join us next year. So if you're interested in participating, once again, flyers are going to be available in the back as you leave. Grab one, contact somebody from our team, and be a part of this groundbreaking work tied to global talent. Each year, we gather to celebrate the many ways that St. Louis connects with the world. And this year, in case you haven't already noticed, we're shining that spotlight on Africa. When many people think of Africa, they see a mysterious continent of 54 distant countries. But what we sometimes overlook is just how closely Africa is already connected to us, right here in St. Louis. Walk through our city And you'll see the ties everywhere. Our universities, well, they welcome students from across Africa who bring talent, culture, and ideas that enrich our campuses and our community. Our health institutions like BJC and Mercy are advancing medical partnerships and research with colleagues in Nigeria and South Africa. The Donald Danforth Plant Science Center has strong collaborations in both Kenya and Rwanda, developing disease-resistant cassava that is now being tested for registration. In business, St. Louis companies are building bridges every day. Emerson, Bunge, and Bayer all have footprints in Africa, supporting infrastructure, agriculture, and digital growth. And on the flip side, African entrepreneurs and investors are increasingly looking to St. Louis as a hub for innovation and global trade. Our nonprofit and faith communities have also led the way, thanks to a very vibrant, local African diaspora. St. Louis-based organizations are tackling critical issues, from workforce development to healthcare access. This diversity is a strength, making St. Louis a city where global perspectives are part of the local fabric. So you may ask, why does this matter? Because the future of global growth runs straight through Africa. By 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth will be African. The continent is urbanizing, digitizing, and innovating at an extraordinary pace. For St. Louis businesses, investors, educators, and community leaders, Africa is no longer a distant frontier, it is a present opportunity. Our role is to lean into that future, to be a city that welcomes partnerships and embraces the exchange of ideas and goods and culture. That is how St. Louis grows global. So today, I'm proud to share 2 exciting steps towards that future. First, the World Trade Center will lead a trade mission to Africa next year. We're going to bring St. Louis leaders together to explore opportunities and open new doors for collaboration. In January, at the invitation of my good friend Rodney Boyd, I traveled to Rwanda and Kenya. I saw firsthand how Kigali and Nairobi have become global symbols of innovation and resilient growth. The special relationships that we're developing provide a gateway for St. Louis organizations to access some of the fastest growing economies while establishing a hub for doing business throughout Africa. Now, many of you have participated in WTC trade missions in the past, and I hope you all will consider joining us next year when we take that first delegation to Africa. And while we're on the journey, with the important support of our mayor and our county executive, it is our intention to enter into a new sister city agreement with Kigali, Rwanda. This partnership will connect our people and our businesses in ways that build lasting ties between St. Louis and one of Africa's most dynamic cities. These are not symbolic gestures, they are commitments to action. In fact, a group of local leaders have already been meeting for the past year as the St. Louis-Kigali Sister Cities Exploratory Committee. This group, combined with the work of many others, signal that St. Louis is serious about its global role and that Africa is a key piece of the plan. So today, as we explore what's possible, let's also take a moment to celebrate what's already been accomplished. Many in this room today, including our own Annie Mbale, have invested their time, their vision, and their resources to connect St. Louis to Africa. It's because all of you that we begin this journey ahead of many others. Take a look.
Africa's potential is limitless. It is vast opportunities, technology, education, agriculture, creative experiences.
We're trying to let organizations and companies in St. Louis know, yes, you can tap into all of those resources as well. And the African Chamber of Commerce can be the middleman to help build that bridge between St. Louis and Africa. That's one of our goals, to let the St. Louis organizations know you can invest in Africa without actually stepping into Africa.
A lot of people underestimate African cities as business hubs. The innovation that is happening in Africa, and the exciting part is that it's the young people doing it, which is the majority of the population. 20 years from now, those people will be the ones that are changing the world. And African leaders are understanding that we have to educate those people to catch up with the times.
I think St. Louis has embraced the African community open-heartedly, embracing it in the aspects of utilizing some of the new technology and innovation that's going on in Africa, and how can we relate that back to St. Louis, but also being able to give those opportunities for those up-and-coming individuals from Africa that's here in the U.S.
We have the Kigali Sister City partnership that we're working on. When that is approved, trade between both cities will be easier. St. Louisians can travel to Rwanda, make any business investment they want to make, and the Rwandans can also come here for schooling, for healthcare.
The St. Louis Mosaic project goal is to attract and retain immigrants in St. Louis. And we have programs like Professional Connection, which helps introduce immigrants to jobs. We'll make an introduction because we understand that when you're coming from another country, you can have a PhD, but it's a whole ball game to just know how to navigate the interviews, and it has been very successful.
If you look at the statistics, people who are coming from other states and those who are moving out of St. Louis is actually negative. The positive number we have is people who are coming from outside the country. And if they come to St. Louis and we make them feel welcomed and we make them be part of this and we connect it to different skills, then we will be able to address the shortage we have in terms of workforce.
I challenge myself, my individuals that I mentor, the individuals that I'm being mentored by, to say, why not Africa? Let's do things that we haven't done and push ourselves to the limit of transformation.
I think that often we let the media dictate what we think of Africa and other places, but we need to remember that Africa is 54 countries, and each country is unique. Each has something to offer.
It is untapped potential that now I'm happy that people are able to see it. In the next 4 or 5 years, everybody will look back and say, wow, where have we been? Why did it take long to get here? And I think I can't wait to see that.